All right then. What are you doing? Whee! Well, it's Christmas Eve afternoon, I guess you would call it. Out here on Little Joe, TTR125. Not really doing anything in particular. Just getting some cabin fever. Gotta head out for some hard enduro in the yard. The grass is a little damp. It rained like crazy yesterday. It was like 50 something, which was nice, but it rained a lot. Now we're back down into the 30s. The rest of the week's supposed to be in the 20s, which would be negative something Celsius. I'll annoy everybody while they're preparing for their Christmas festivities. Well, it was a pretty good year of riding. Met lots of new people, lots of cool dudes to ride with. Let's see, last November I got Green Fury and then started riding out at our riding outdoors area there, like February or March or something. So definitely learned a lot and leveled up a bunch of times. And everybody always told me that like there's no substitute for seat time to develop your confidence and skills, and they're 100% right. The classes I took absolutely helped with being taught like the right way to do things. So when I practiced stuff, I was practicing correct things instead of like guessing what I was supposed to be doing. But the rest of it was a lot of backyard time on basic skills, and then heading out on the trail with the guys, and basically like overcoming fears, or becoming numb to fears. There's still things I have trouble on, like I'm not a big fan of super ass steep downhills, and my cornering kind of sucks ass. I think I'm doing real good on climbing. That's one of my favorite things to do, is just climb up whatever, I don't care. So this year coming up, my riding resolutions, I guess, keep working on the downhills. I mean, I definitely got better, faster on the downhills. Downhills through rocks, the faster you can go, the less shitty it is. When you're in the rocks and you go slow because you're like afraid of getting deflected or losing control or bouncing off of stuff, you tend to slow yourself down a lot, and that's like the wrong thing to do, because then your bike doesn't really have any momentum to like get over stuff. Even small rocks will like deflect you or slow you down and stop you. Now, I'm not saying go like 80 miles an hour down a really steep, shitty downhill, but like you definitely should be like, almost all the time you should be in like second gear as like your minimum kind of speed going down rocky downhills. Third gear as you build your confidence up, and then as you get better, you know, on the ones that aren't quite so steep, you know, you'll be in fourth gear or whatever, depending on your bike. You know, obviously my little bike's fourth gear isn't super fast compared to like you know, a full-on enduro bike or something. But yeah, you just gotta like nudge yourself to get better, and it really helps to like ride with other guys, whether they're, you know, better than you or they're at the same place as you. You know, if you ride with guys who are better than you, they can teach you stuff, even just by you watching them. Or if you have a question, like, you know, there's a couple things we rode over last year. I had no idea how to go over it. Like, there was this one thing, it was like a giant root, and then it stepped off, and it was like a huge, like, front porch step kind of thing, rock, and it was really off camber, just like the shittiest combination of things. And I had no idea what the right way to go over that was. So I got over it by kind of like, you know, paddling over it and stuff, and kind of just rolling over it a little bit. But you know, the more advanced guys told me you got to stand up on that and get your weight back and just roll right over it. And I did, and it was a lot easier than you know, paddling my feet over it. But also, when you can get out with other guys, it gives you confidence to push yourself more, because like if things go bad and, you know, you get hurt or something, there's somebody else there, so you don't feel like, you know, you're gonna get screwed and stuck in the woods by yourself, like way back somewhere with like a sprained wrist or something. Plus, you know, the macho thing, you can egg each other on and call each other pussies and, and stuff. Nobody really does that, though. I think when you ride with the same group of guys a lot, everybody starts to get a pretty good idea of each other's like standard capabilities, and they also kind of get a good idea of like, you can do something you think you can't. Like, they know you can do it because they see you ride. Like, they watch you, they've watched you for hours riding. So if there's some obstacle that like you're unsure of or something, you know, the guys will encourage you to tackle it, because they know you can do it. It's just like you may not have the confidence to attempt it. And then after you do it, I mean, more often than not, you make it, even if you have a little trouble. And then the next time you do that thing, it's easier, and the next time it's even easier. So you're like increasing your skill. I don't think I've ever ridden with anybody who would suggest you do something that they know, like, you're gonna crash and get hurt or something like that. Everybody I've ridden with, if I was being a total pussy that day and like just, you know, was totally not feeling like I could do something, you know, people are cool with that. You know, go around another way, try it, you know, another time. If you don't have guys to ride with, it's not hard to find guys. Like on ADV Rider or Thumper Talk, just get on the forum. There's almost always a regional forum for your area, and you just put yourself out there. Say, hey, I'm so and so. You know, I live here. Here's where I ride usually, and let them know what bike you have, what your skill level is. Are you fast? Are you slow? Do you like single track mostly? Do you like fire roads? Some guys like to get as many miles in on the trail as they can in a day, so they like to go, go, go. I would say our group is a little like that sometimes, like in the beginning of the day, and then towards the end of the day we like bullshit around a lot. I'm like, I would say, a bit of an explorer. I like to just find trails, and I like to look at things in the forest and stuff like that. You know, part of riding for me, besides just the riding, is just being outdoors in the forest. You know, finding cool rocks or weird mushrooms on trees or Bigfoot, whatever I can spy out there. But yeah, if you post in a forum, a regional forum, or a forum, you know, if there's one dedicated to like one of your big off-road areas, you will definitely find guys. Or if you post and say, hey, I'm a beginner or I'm intermediate, you know, is anybody more advanced willing to take me out on a ride and help me advance? People are happy to do that. That's the cool thing about this sport is like everybody I've encountered is, number one, definitely don't want you to get hurt. Like, look out for each other on the trail. Everybody is super helpful, whether it's talking about riding technique or you know, mechanical things, helping you out with that. So it's really, if you don't get involved with your riding community, I feel like you're missing out on a lot of knowledge, a lot of advancement you can make in a shorter amount of time, but also just, you know, like meeting really cool people. So it's, I mean, riding is really a very social activity, whether, you know, we're dirt riding back in the forest or the guys who get on their cruisers and do charity rides or whatever. It's a lot to do with hanging out with other guys who have a similar interest in the sport. A little light cone practice today. Let's do some stand-up slow riding here. Squeak through these cones. Oh, too much juice. I gotta check my chain on this. It was real loose. I think I tightened it up like a notch too tight. This bike has like those snail adjusters, so it's not super precise. This cone type practice is really good for just your control, but also if you ride in the rocks, to be able to pick your way around shitty rocks. But I mention that all the time when I'm doing my backyard vlogs. But I'm a believer. Hit the porch. Woohoo! So yeah, my New Year's resolutions for riding. Improve my cornering, improve my downhills. Like I said, I'm pretty good on climbing. I'm kind of getting to the point where there are things I know I could climb skill-wise, but my bike might not have the oomph to get me up there. Especially if it's like a real loose, like slag pile or something. Like there's shit I look at and I'm like, I 100% know I could do that, but I know I would run out of steam like halfway unless I can have a sufficient run up to like hit the base of the hill with like a lot of speed and use momentum. Because my bikes don't have the power to like, you know, get you out of trouble or kind of keep going if you start to stall out like halfway up a steep hill. So you gotta hit it with some momentum and get a good line from the start, which I guess is good. It makes you you know, you have to ride pretty precise to get the most out of these little bikes. So when I get a bigger bike, that should come in handy, that kind of like mindset when I look at things on the trail. But anyways, yeah, cornering, downhills. I'm not really worried about speed. I definitely got faster this year looking at like my videos from the early part of the year to like now. I didn't specifically take a lot of action to increase speed other than as I became more familiar with the trail network. When I knew it was a nice straight, I would pour on the speed there and consequently try to kind of increase my overall average speed on the trail. So like when I first went out riding there, I would be in first gear a lot, which on the KLX is like 6 miles an hour. Sometimes second. A lot of times on the downhills, I was always in first. So now I'm like on the haul road, the big mining road that connects the areas in my videos. I'm in fifth gear, pinned out. On the 2-track trails, I'm often in fourth. On the single track in the woods, I'm pretty much in second just because it's single track tight in the woods. I can't really go too fast back in there myself. But that's probably something to work on too. That has to do with precision. So speaking of bikes, a lot of people got new bikes. Well, Wild Bill, he was out on his KLX 250S Dual Sport when I first met him. And then he got a Beta 250 two-stroke. Mrs. PA Dual Sport, she just got a KLX 140G, which is awesome. That's going to be an awesome bike for her. She's already loving it. She's been out a few times already. Mr. PA Dual Sport, he just got a Beta 300 two-stroke, which is like a super enduro woods bike. That bike should do excellent in our area because of the hills. Like the 300 is supposed to have a lot of grunt off the bottom, so you can like scamper up stuff. So that should be real cool. I'm excited to see Matt on that bike because he was riding the CRF 250L, and again, from like me watching him ride, I felt like he got to the point where the size and weight of the CRF250L Dual Sport was now holding him back. Like his riding ability had increased to the point where it exceeded where the CRF250L could like comfortably go, whether that's a single track or gnarly hill climbs or things like that. So it should be really fun next year, seeing how things go with these new bikes for everybody. I'm thinking about a two-stroke myself. I put it around on Mark's Beta X trainer. Put it around a little bit on Wild Bill's 250. Matt's coming over this week. We're gonna rejet the KLX and do some other maintenance, valve check, oil change, that kind of stuff. But he says he's gonna bring his 300 and we'll hard enduro it in the backyard here. So hopefully take a turn on that and just kind of see how it feels. But from everything I've been investigating, if you ride in the woods and you got a lot of hilly terrain, a two-stroke is probably the preferred type of bike. Now, four-strokes are cool because like they just have traction right from the moment you start laying on the throttle, and the power is very linear. Like there's no surprise. Like power just kind of increases right along with your throttle movement. So in that respect, it's definitely feels like to me an easier bike to learn on. But yeah, I suppose if you started on a two-stroke and that's all you know, then that was easier for you to learn on. But yeah, like a two-stroke that can lug and kind of has its power band like grunty on the bottom would be a very good choice in our riding area. And like if we were out in the desert and our riding distances throughout the day were really long, maybe a four-stroke might be better because of the increased fuel range, and they seem to like kind of be more I guess slanted towards longer distance, high speed. I mean, when you look at like the hard enduro races, like 6 Days, Romaniacs, Roof of Africa, like if you go to Graham Jarvis's channel and watch all the races, everybody's on like a 300 two-stroke, and they're doing the most extreme hard enduro stuff in the forest and rocks and everything. And hey, those guys are sponsored. They can ride any bike that Husqvarna or KTM or whoever makes. So it leads me to believe they're picking a two-stroke of that size for a particular reason. I don't think I need that kind of power right now. I might have like an episode or something. So, but I don't know, some things that kind of caught my eye. Husqvarna, when they were made in Italy, the long Husqvarna saga, they had some two-strokes WR125, which is there used to be a 125 race class at that time, but you can find a used one, not very expensive. It's quality built. It's an Italian-built Husqvarna. So that seems cool. The KTM 150 XCW, but my interest would be in the Husqvarna one because I would prefer the linkage shock instead of PDS. That seems really cool. I've watched a lot of reviews on that. People say it is super light. It's like, I don't know, 206 pounds before fuel or something. Again, it's a bike that people say it is not going to keep up, you know, in the long straightaway with the 250 or 300 or the 254 strokes, etc. But for a woods bike, for a creeping around in the rocks bike, they say it's outstanding for that. So that's an interest. Beta this February is supposed to have in the United States Beta 125 two-stroke. Okay, now I looked at that compared to the X-Trainer. The X-Trainer seems to be very popular too, not only for like newer two-stroke riders, but there's people that race them in hard enduros. But it's a little interesting between them. I mean, obviously the 300, the Beta X-Trainer is a 300. I think there's a 250 out now too, or coming out. But they got this little 125, and it's set up as a enduro cross country. Now the X-Trainer has, if you look at the specs, it has kind of a gimped suspension. Like, it's not fully adjustable. Like, the shock does not have a high-speed adjuster. The forks don't have compression adjustment. Beta has come out with kits that you can fit, retrofit the forks and do that. And some guys are putting like Kayaba shocks, forks on their bike, and like Olin shocks and stuff to like overcome the suspension limitations. Now you would probably only run into those if like you're really fast. From what I've read, if you're like crawling around in the woods and the rocks, it's fine as is. But faster guys or racers, more aggressive riders, we're kind of reaching the limitations of the suspension. But okay, so it's interesting. The X-Trainer is like a slightly smaller size frame and everything, slightly lower seat height, which in my opinion is fantastic, especially when you're stuck halfway up a shitty hill or in like a lot of rocks and you need to put a foot down. But then it has that kind of plain suspension, and it's, I don't know, $7,500, $7,750. So Beta has this 125 two-stroke coming out. Again, it's not going to be like a fast bike at the top end, but I don't care. But the cool thing is, it's very light. It's down in that like 206 pound category. Little lower seat height, little scaled down size of the frame. But it comes with the full Sachs, race suspension. So you're getting the full everything as far as suspension goes to start off with. And it's like, I don't know, list price is probably about $500 cheaper. They haven't listed U.S. list prices yet, but looking at European prices, what some of the guys in Italy were saying. So that might be real freaking cool. But I would want to see reviews on it, like as far as like climbing up stuff. It probably has enough power. I can climb up a lot of ridiculous stuff on a 144cc 4-stroke right now. So I'm sure 125 two-stroke that has probably 50% more horsepower would be plenty. So I don't know, I kind of think in my mind, like maybe one of those older WR125 Husqvarnas, or the Husqvarna 150, or that Beta 125. But I also heard a rumor that in model year 2019, so after next year, Beta might produce a 200 two-stroke. And that might be right up my alley. I definitely want more power, but I don't think I'm ever going to be like a super fast kind of rider. Where I would want the power is hill climbing and you know, pulling through gunky terrain, climbing over rocks and shit like that. That's the kind of stuff I like to do. If I like to go super ass fast, try to find a place that had super long places to do that. Probably get like a Husky FE 350 4-stroke and like shoot up and down the Hall Road as fast as I can. But anyways, I don't know. What are you guys doing for your next year's riding resolutions or things you think you want to work on? What are you doing about your bike? You like it? There's stuff on it you're going to change? You're looking to get a new bike? Have you found that like what you like to ride in terms of terrain or ride types has changed over the year? I'd be interested to know. Oh yeah, I'm gonna go down the hill. Ooh, hey Tony, I'm going down your hill. Wow. Oh yeah, I know one thing. I tried to change the gearing on the KLX 140G. It's a 1357. So I ordered a 50 and a 52 tooth KLX 140L rear sprocket, but unfortunately they don't fit. The hub's too big for them to fit over to mount, so that sucks. Nobody has any options at all to like re-gear. I was thinking, I mean, I really like the 1357, like the ability to crawl up stuff or through stuff. I mean, it's pretty damn cool, especially like when you're stuck on a hill. But I was just kind of thinking, like, I don't know, 1352, maybe 1354, just to make the gears just a little longer. Since I'm riding a little faster now out on the trail, I thought I might like to try that, but can't do it now. So I got 2 useless sprockets and a chain. The chain I'm about to go with it is too short to fit on these the stock sprockets or the stock gearing. But I might be able to use it on this bike, the TTR, though. When this one wears out, I'll just take a couple links out or something. But I think gearing can make a tremendous difference if you can do it specific about, you know, specific to your bike and your riding style and the crap you're trying to do. But it's all compromises, just like suspension. I mean, nothing's going to be perfect every situation or area. So maybe you gear it to perform best in your favorite stuff. Maybe you gear it and adjust your suspension to enhance your performance in the things you're not good at. I don't know. Like if you know you can scamper up just about any damn hill, no matter what the bike's geared or whatever, but you have trouble in like some other kind of thing, I don't know, I guess you could kind of tune your bike towards the thing you're having trouble with to enhance your odds, so to speak, and that kind of stuff. You know, like if you're in rocky stuff, you probably want a softer suspension settings versus like if you ride sand all the time, you would probably want firmer settings. That's part of the fun too, is kind of like figuring that shit out. I think there's very few parts you can buy for your bike beyond tires and gearing that are gonna, like, you know, I don't think anything's gonna increase your skill level, but it can definitely make your bike behave better and eliminate dumb shit. And when I say dumb shit, I mean like the bike just does something ridiculous, not really your fault or anything, just because it might not be set up good for you and where you are. So if you can eliminate that kind of stuff, then it really just comes down to like you piloting the machine as best you can. Anyways, all right, I've done a lot of blabbing, so it's kind of cold out too. I gotta go wrap some presents and shit. Anyways, if you've got any thoughts to share, I'd be happy to hear them down in the comments. Other than that, I'm gonna head back into the garage and get me a cup of coffee and put on my slippers. Alright, I will see you guys later. I'll tell you what, that hard seat foam there, when I'm not wearing my crash shorts, man, that really makes your ass hurt. Whew.